Namaste, my name is Masha. Welcome to Musings by Masha. You already see in the description of this video which deck I will be sharing with you today, but I also wanted to mention in that same package that I received from Arnell's art or Arnell Ando came two other decks that I'll be showing and doing walkthroughs in the next couple of weeks. One of them is the Tarot of the Magic Bologna. They're all mages only decks, and this one is by Maria Rita Zoni. It's in the most adorable deck, but I need to prepare and just to learn a little bit more about the city of Bologna so I can do it justice and can do a good informative walkthrough for this beautiful deck. And the other one that I'm also very excited that I will be doing a walkthrough is one of the newest decks, I believe, published by Arnell's art and available from Arnell Ando's website. Of course, I will link all of them in the description of my video below. But this is Chagall Tarot Tribute featuring the work of Marc Chagall and collaged with the historic Italian tarot deck, which is very exciting. I did look through the cards, but I just need to get a little bit more ready for doing walkthroughs of those decks. But this video, of course, as you can see from the thumbnail, this video is all about the Tarocchi di Bologna or Tarot of Bologna. And this is the second edition available from Arnell's art. And this is a limited edition to 200 copies only. This particular one was released in 2018. And as I mentioned, it's available from Arnell's art website, which I will share in the description of this video below. As you can see also in the thumbnail, this is the reproduction of Giacomo Zoni's Tarot di Bologna, the Bolognese Tarot of Bologna, dating 1780 originally. And while it's an Italian deck, it's a Marseille style deck. Again, Marseille is a style, not as the origin or not as the location of where the tarot originated. Now, this deck originally was, from my understanding from the information I got from Arnell, was printed in 1986 by the famous Il Meneghello publishing company, and now of course it's out of print. I do know the Lo Scarabeo used to have the full version 78 cards of the Giacomo Zoni's tarot, but I don't know much about that because it went out of print, I think, before even before my tarot journey started. But Asfaldo Minigazzi, and most of us in the tarot community, we know that Asfaldo Minigazzi was the founder of Il Meneghello Publishing House in 1974, because his deck was out of print, which was on his paper, but he gave permission to Tarot Museum, the Museum del Tarocchi, which Arnell is affiliated with, Arnell Ando, to republish this beautiful deck. And as I mentioned, it is the mages only, the major arcana that we will be looking at today. The first publication of this deck was done in 2013 by the Museum of Tarot, Tarocchi and Hermantena, and it was a larger edition as the one that I will be showing with you today, and it was on a matte cardstock, when this cardstock is a little different. But that edition, the first edition of this particular version, went out of print in 2018, and later that same year this particular version of limited 200 copies was released. And I'm very excited. I did struggle actually to choose. I love tarot history and I love learning about tarot, and I've been researching Bolognese and Piedmontese tarot traditions, which I'm yet to make a video as well to talk more about those. But I was looking at different versions of Bolognese tarot, and while this one is the modern one, when I went on Arnell's Ando website, I really couldn't decide between those two. And yeah, and she suggested that she would gift me the historic version because, well, I went with the modern one, and she suggested and so kindly, so generously gifted me this version. And I did put it back together, but pretty much since the moment I received those, I couldn't have put it down, and only kind of put it down to wrap it back together to show you with the original packaging it came with. This version was released in 2018, and there were only 200 copies released. Mine is copy number 25 out of 200. And again, Arnell, if you're watching, I'm so grateful for this beautiful special gift. I already adore this deck, and many of you who are watching, you know that I do really love reading with mages only. Having started with Camellia, my probably preferred way to read to myself and my closest friends and family, using mages only and using the minors and playing cards just on the side to pull kind of clarifiers or use for extra questions that may come from the mages only readings. But this video is not about that. I also wanted to mention very quickly, well, you saw the 3 decks now that I have received, that they came with quite a few art cards from different decks, and I think it will make actually sense for me to mention them to you in my future videos when I share with you the Chagall Tarot Tribute, which is the art deck, and the deck by Margherita Zoni, that the Magic of Bologna. I've got a couple of magnets there as well. I will show you those in my future videos because it just kind of makes more sense, I think, because today is all about the historic reproduction of a very special deck, or I think it's a very special tarot. So let's have a look. The box is nice and sturdy. It does come with the hot wax seal there from the Museum del Tarocchi or Tarot Museum. It's got that one of the cards or adjusted world cards here saying, well, as you can see, Tarocchi di Bologna 2018 edition, 200 copies available, and the original, the first edition, was 2013, as I mentioned, which I trust came in large and matte cardstock, when this cardstock is a little different, yet it's 300 GSM from my understanding. So yeah, the box is beautiful, and I will show you the box once again up close at the end of the video, but it's a 2-part box. It's really lovely, and when you open the box, what you see here, you see the 20 or 23 cards, because we got that extra card, plus major arcana tied in that wine cord, which is quite lovely and feels very natural. So when you pick this one up, you see here a little pamphlet, and it's just a little page about the mentioning the card meanings, mentioning the what kind of deck it is, that is limited edition of 200. It's a deck from 18th century, and well, 1780 to be precise, was originally created by Giacomo Zoni and now referred to as Tarot of Bologna. We have that, it's kind of A4 sheet of paper with the meanings in English, and here at the back Italian. As you can see here, probably 25 out of 200, that's my number, so the copies are numbered. And yeah, the keywords, they have negative keywords, which I trust, the reversals, and yeah, for all the cards. But as you can see, it's not much there, but it's nice and handy to have a little pamphlet. Again, mentioning that the cards were published by Tarot dei Tarocchi and Herman Tena. To the cards, that the exciting part. So yeah, as I mentioned, they came tied up, and if I untie them, if you look at the bags, they feature the Tarot Museum logo, and they are reversible. So if you read reversible cards, we have the first cards again here, just basic information, but in Italian. So once again, Tarocchi di Bologna, and you can probably pause and see. The cardstock is quite lovely. As I did mention, it's 300 GSM, or that from what I know is 300 GSM. And you can see it's semi-glossy, but it's not really glossy. It's got a little bit of sheen, but it's more, for me, feels like satin, smooth cardstock, I would say. That's what I feel. And the backs are a little bit more satin, and the fronts are a little bit have a little bit more sheen, but they almost have a little bit of like a waxy feel that I love. But look, the pliability, the cards are very flexible, which I really love. And if you ask me about the size, I've got at hand one of the newest. I've had a week when I was really obsessing about Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. So that's the yellow box. They're one of the new editions, which actually I'm quite impressed by. But if I pull a card with plate backs and put it against this, the Bologna, the Tarot of Bologna, they are exactly the same. So as you can see, it's exactly the same size as what we get from US games. If you're looking at our AGM, right, more standard type of card when it comes to the size. The cardstock, to me, it's very delightful. It's flexible, it's waxy. I love that. It slides nicely, but yet it's not sticky, and it's not too slippery. It's a winner. But now is the time for us to turn the camera around and have an up-closer look at those cards, the title of which are actually in French, while it's Italian deck. But enough talking, let's have a look at the beauty of the cards all together now, nice and up close. Before we have a look at all of the cards as a quick flip through, let's just have a look again up close. I've got a bit of a reflection from my candle here at the quality of the cards. They are quality, so you can see that sheen there, a little bit of a shine of semi-gloss, but they're not glossy at all. And as I mentioned, I do have that waxy feel, so they slide nicely, but yet they're not too slippery. I really love this cardstock. And the backs, once again, they're reversible. They are more of sort of the colder creamy color and with the logo of the Tarot Museum. Now to the cards. The Magician. I love the vintage look of those cards, and I do love those softer colors too. The more muted color palette, I must say. I love how the blues are quite deep here. I love how the orange colors are a little bit more faded, but also love those faded greens. And I adore those little dots, which I think, see the dots here, they were placed intentionally, but I couldn't find much information. But that's what makes this deck unique. The placement of those dots, but it does give that I don't know, just add that romantic feel to me to the cards. Love the lover cards. La force, the strength is beautiful. Handman, as you can see, because it's a reproduction facsimile of the historic deck, a little bit of the bottom of the letters there and Lependoof, they've been cut, but I don't mind it at all. I just adore those cards so much. I really love this death and all those dots again, right? I do love the giggle in a death card when it comes to my historic decks. Somewhat reminds me actually of Giordano Berti's Hester reproduction death cards. I love the faces. Look, even Temperance, he looks quite joyful, but once again we have those dots there. An adorable devil card. Love the star, has the bird there as well. And I don't think this one can qualify as any really, either it's type 1 or type 2, right? Because devil was very different. And we have the moon facing straight ahead, which is generally type 1 Tarot de Marseille, but we're not talking about that in here. I love lovely sun card. Judgment. We have the world with the cape rather than the ribbon again. If you, it's more of resembling, reminiscent of the type 1, but not quite. And we have the Fool with the blue animal, which resembles more of a cat than a dog, right? And those cards, they riffle lovely as well if you are a riffle shuffler. Just a little up close of the box, that sturdy, lovely box with the wax seal that these cards came in. I hope you enjoyed having a look at the cards of the Tarocchi di Bologna, the Tarot of Bologna, the reproduction of a historic deck originally created by Giacomo Zoni in 1780 and republished as a second edition by Tarot Museum and with affiliation with Arnell's art, where the deck can be purchased from now. As I mentioned in the beginning, the links will be in the description of this video. But I love the softness, I love almost romantic feel of the cards, I love all the dots, I adore this cardstock. They shuffle really, really beautifully, and I'm so very grateful to Arnell for making those cards available and for sending me this beautiful gem of a deck as a gift. And it's definitely out of Italian decks I have, and I don't have many. That's pretty much my number one now, and I'm really honest and sincere when I mention that, as I don't have many Italian decks anyway. But with me loving historic decks and loving mages only and loving that kind of softer aged looks, that's for me, this is the gem. This is a little gem of a deck that I will treasure, and well, I'm taking it with me for my weekend away, yeah, love it. But do let me know what you think about those cards, and do let me know in the comments below whether you read with mages only or whether you prefer full decks and what your reasoning behind that. I do love reading with mages only, as I mentioned. In the last Tarothon, I actually did a feature, which, why not, I will link it in the comments, in the description of the video below, for you to have a look. That it's quite a strong movement as well, where when it comes to reading with mages only, I love both, and I love to have that variety and that choice to have. And look, having mages only deck, if you're on the go, if you travel, that's super light, that's super easy, which is another bonus. I will let you go now, my friends. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for stopping by and for watching this video. I will see you very soon. Namaste.